Okay, good morning. It's 4:23 in the morning, 62.3 degrees on day 161, September 11th. I'm gonna wake up. All right, good morning again, guys. It is 5:33, 57.6 degrees. Just kind of giving one last look around to make sure I have everything from camp. Yep, all looks good. So yeah, I just found just kind of reading topographic maps yesterday to try and find a spot that kind of flattened out a little. I found one. I just kind of pitched up right there. There's not nearly enough space to pitch up my tent, but that's fine because the weather looked accommodating and wound up being very much so. So I just pitched up Cowboy for the first time in a couple months, I think. I'd have to check my notes to be sure. But slept super comfortably. There's a new moon in a few days, which is to say that there's a very thin and waning moon right now. So I was able to enjoy a bunch of stars and indeed saw about 4 shooting stars this morning as I was laying there waking up. So that's always really fun. Today, just gonna be an old-fashioned butt kicker again. If I'm able to do 30, which I very much like to do, it'll be with about 8,000 feet of elevation gain, half of which, fully half of that 8,000 feet is coming in the next 5 miles. So another way of saying that is I'm gaining 4,000 feet of elevation in the next 5 miles. Which is, again, why I wanted to get some portion of it done yesterday, as I did. Just kind of is what it is. Wish that Twisp trail was going to be open, but it's not, so this is fine. Yeah, I mean, really not a whole ton much more to report. I mean, I guess I'll say, so Far Out is one app that I use, Gaia is the other. Far Out just kind of threw up this map real quick a few days ago on account of the fire closure, just so that people who use Far Out exclusively had some idea of what this alternate looks like. But when they do just throw up those maps, they don't have any waypoints, which are really helpful. Waypoints are really helpful, I should say. Them not having waypoints is not very helpful. Waypoints meaning just little icons on the map, which show you where water and campsites, and really those are the two I really care about. Some other waypoints show some other things, but those are the two I care about. Yes, there's no waypoints on the map, but I do use Gaia in addition, so I'll have some more like reliable topographic indications or symbols or whatever of where stuff might be. And then in addition to that, there was another hiker who went through a few days ago who wrote a comment on a previous waypoint with all the mile markers for where there's water and campsites and stuff like that. So that's super duper helpful. Shout out to Karate Kid, a guy I hiked with some earlier on in the hike. He's from Idaho, I think. He's got to be done by now. Anyway, so I'm kind of following some mix of Karate Kid's comments and my reading of the Gaia symbols. But I'm not sure exactly where the trail is right now, so I'm going to turn off and get hiking, and I'll talk to you guys later. state, 53.8 degrees, and I've just made a game time decision that I'm going to skip Eagle Pass and try and cut 6 or 7 miles by way of taking the War Creek Trail. So we'll see how this goes.
Hey, hey.
Good morning again, folks. It is 10:40 in the morning. It is 20 till 11, and it is 69.4 degrees. It is day 161, so it's time for a health update. And this, again, I think is likely my very last health update on trail, as I have maybe 100 miles, maybe a little less, remaining until my destination. So, yeah, we'll get into the health update. Just want to mention one more time before we crack into it that we'll be doing a post-hike Q&A. If you have any questions on anything from how I feel about the trail to whatever, I don't know, production or gear or whatever, I don't know, drop a comment and just make sure you use the hashtag BEATAMA. That's BEATAMA. BEATAMA. So beat AMA. That's beat ask me anything. And that's what I'll use to find your questions. If you use any other hashtag or don't use a hashtag, I probably will not remember or be able to identify your questions, locate your questions after the hike. So please do use that hashtag so we can answer your questions afterwards. Yeah, I thought this might be an interesting place to turn on too. We're still on the War Creek Trail. So I think, I don't know, what, 12 miles or something like that into the day. I don't really know. I'd like to have been a little further, but we'll see how it all shakes out. This is definitely a little overgrown. It looks like just now, as I've turned on, we're kind of transitioning out of perhaps a bit of a burn zone. And off to my right, which is the east, is where War Creek itself is running. It's been fine. A lot of blowdowns. And a lot of overgrown trail, but that's all right. All right, so health update. We'll start down at the bottom. Feet are what they are. That left foot pinky toenail is still holding on. So again, only a few days left. Whether that makes it through the hike or not, whether it drops off before I finish, I don't know. Right ankle, I mean, that's a thing, but still responding to ibuprofen. So that's pretty good. And I can hike with that, that's fine. Other than that, feet are doing fine. No blisters, no other toenails. Yeah, that's pretty good for feet and ankles. Calves, I feel like not only today and all this overgrown business, but I feel like the past week or so, I should say shins. I've just been kicking stuff with my shins. So I got all sorts of bruises up and down my shins now, which isn't fun. But it's fine, whatever. Hips doing good. My pack rash is definitely coming back this week. So that's uncomfortable. I've also started noticing just a bit of pack rash up under my shoulder straps. So particularly on the left shoulder. But again, just another few days and I'll be able to more easily rectify and alleviate some of these maladies. Gosh, man, look at this trail. Yeah, so that's hands doing good, head, eyes, mouth, appetite, digestion, all good. So yeah, that's about it for body. And as far as gear, yeah, I mean, everything's still holding up. Again, those zippers that I replaced on my Z-Packs Duplex, they're still performing nobly, so that's great. Sleeping pad doing great. Sleeping bag, no condensation last night, so that's doing great. I did throw away a pair of Injinjis here in the last, it's Stehekin, because they were just blasted out with holes. I'd chewed through holes in like most of the toes, and frankly, again, with 4 days left, I do still have one pair of brand new Injinjis, which I'm wearing right now, and that one pair should be fine to go 4 days, even if I weren't to wash them, which I still hope to do in Mazama, but we'll see how timing and everything works out. Nothing else really to mention on gear. I guess I should mention, I've been noticing my pack straps are definitely getting pretty frayed, pretty tattered. So I'm gonna have to replace those when I get home, because I just don't want to. I don't like them being that tattered. I'd rather they be more reliable. They're performing fine. Hopefully they'll last another 3 or 4 days or whatever. But they're definitely on their way out. Yeah, so that's it for gear. Mental health stuff, yeah, man, just busy. Still feeling super guilty right now about. I mean, again, I'm just missing my wife, man. I'm missing my wife. I'm ready to see her. And honestly, for the first time in all 3 trails, I'm feeling like I'm just ready to be done. And that makes me feel guilty, because I had so much amazing fun on this trail and so much amazing fun on the previous 2, the CDT and the AT. But on the previous 2, as I was getting down to these days of the trail, oh, there's some bear scat for you. Yep. As I was getting down to this point of the trail on the previous 2 trails, I mean, I still miss my wife, don't get me wrong, but you could have dropped another 500 miles on it, it would have been fine. And this trail, I'm just ready, man. I'm just ready to be done. So I feel bad about that, because I feel like this trail deserves better than my than my being done with it. But is what it is, and I'd be lying if I said that's not where my head is at. But that's where my head is at. Aside from that, still sort of fretting over whatever logistics are going to be required in order to get me from Manning Park to Portland, Oregon, where I'll be meeting the lovely Mrs. Travel and Beat. But there's really nothing I can do about that at this point. I really don't know when I'll be getting exactly to Manning, or how I'm going to be getting from Manning to where I'm going from there, whether that's Vancouver or what. I really just don't know. So, excuse me while I negotiate this blow down. Yeah, so that's just kind of where my head's at. Fretting over logistics, feeling a little guilty, but also really excited to put a bow on this achievement. So hopefully the trail lets me finish these next few days without too much issue. So that's about all I got for the health update. I just wanted to mention one other thing. I did shout out a fella called Stagecoach yesterday, who I met in Stehekin, who's from my immediate area. He's in like his late 50s or so, and he had hiked the AT 35 years ago. He had a career as a federal judge, and as we were hanging out doing laundry and stuff, me and him and a bunch of other hikers, he mentioned an infection that he had on his foot, and produced that infection for us all to gawk at. This is just a hiker thing, I guess. And it definitely looked pretty gnarly. Someone offered him some iodine, which he declined in preferring his Neosporin. And then I recalled that I had that antibiotic regimen, which I secured in, was it Mammoth or Bishop? One of those. So I offered him that, and he was very excited about that. So hopefully I don't notice any infections flaring up here in the next 3 or 4 days, because I figured he definitely needed it, and I did not need it. So hopefully I don't wind up needing it. But yeah, hopefully that helps him. I am no longer carrying my antibiotic. It was indeed the first time I have ever given drugs to a federal judge, but he was excited about it. So anyways, that's all I got. I'm gonna keep hiking, and hopefully we'll be rejoining the PCT alternate here in a little while. I also realized one final thing. I only have one more night sleeping on the PCT itself, so and that'll be the night before I finish. Well, with that, I'm out of here. Talk to you guys later. All right, good evening, folks. It is 5:14 in the evening. It is 63 degrees even. Made it to home for the night. My beautiful accommodation there, the Z-Packs duplex all pitched up. I am on the, let's see, the trail south, if you will, side of North Creek. Just a tiny touch under a mile before the junction with the trail that'll take me up and over Abernathy Pass, which puts me about 1.75 miles from the crest of Abernathy Pass, and then a total of about 15 and a quarter or so miles before Mazama tomorrow, which is fantastic. And in that 15.3 miles, you ready for this? Hold your breath. In that 15.3 miles, get ready for it. Oh my gosh, 1,500 feet of elevation gain, and that's pretty much all first thing in the morning. So I'm excited, man. Super excited. So much so that I'm kind of kicking around the idea. It really depends what time I get into Mazama and how everything's feeling and looking in Mazama. But I kind of concocted a really harebrained scheme on the hike in today. Maybe, if I get to Mazama early, I might be able to concoct like a ride up to Harts Pass, which is like 17 miles beyond Mazama, and then do like a southbound slack pack back to Mazama, and then stay in Mazama that night, tomorrow night, and then just get a ride to Harts Pass the next morning, and then go from there. So I really don't know how viable that's going to be, and it totally depends what time I get into Mazama tomorrow. But if it's 15 miles, mostly downhill, I don't know, man. It seems like there's at least potential there. The main advantage here is that it's not a crazy climb up to Harts Pass from Mazama. It doesn't look like. I mean, it's 17 miles or whatever, so the distance is definitely the biggest part, and there's certainly elevation gain, but it's a road, so it's all like 300 or 400 feet per mile or something like that. So not a crazy grade by any stretch of the imagination. All the same, I was initially thinking perhaps I could hike through Mazama tomorrow and kind of camp halfway up to Harts Pass, but as I said, it's a road, and it doesn't look like there's any real it doesn't look like there's any real camping along that road anywhere, really. So that's still sort of a backup option. I could just kind of sneak off into the woods and camp someplace, but I don't know. We'll kind of see how it all feels, and maybe I'll just take a lazy day and chill in Mazama tomorrow. I don't really know. Today, man, I'm super happy. I decided to do that War Creek Pass. War Creek, whatever, alternate to the alternate or whatever. Definitely there were a ton of blowdowns. One of the comments I read said that someone had counted like 280 something, and I don't doubt that, but goodness knows I wasn't going to count. So the blowdowns were intermittently frustrating, but I knew to expect them, and so that's fine. And shaving that 6 whatever miles means that the 29 or so that I did today, and as far as distances on the map, I kind of like, this is something I hope Shade doesn't watch this video, because this is how she was always geared in the Sierra, but like I kind of did like 35 or 36 miles today. I didn't really walk that distance, but in as far as the distance I cut by taking that alternate to the alternate down War Creek, kinda, I don't know. Either way, that's why I only have whatever 15 and a quarter miles to get to Mazama tomorrow or something like that. But I'm gonna take advantage of this early night. I'm gonna cook up some dinner. I'm gonna might even process video for the first time in like a week, and hopefully get to sleep somewhat early. I hear that the junction to Abernathy Pass and whatever it is, just under a mile, I hear that it's actually kind of hard to spot, and I expect I'll be getting there in the dark, so I'll just kind of have to keep a sharp eye. I'm not super worried about it. This is what I do, man. I just follow trails and stuff, so yeah. That's all I got, guys. I know this has been a long video. Sorry about that. I'm gonna check in with y'all tomorrow.